game. Did he you see my rebuttal? I'm like, so? He played 1848, and it was only a -1. Okay, Forbert was a -5 in a 7-2 loss at home. So
they were bad that game. They were really bad. Forbert, Dowdy.
What do you think it was? Is this just these...
It's just these guys that if it's not their opinion and they didn't think of something, they immediately just cast it out. That's their... All right. It's the call of Carl's Jr., baby.
It's the bacon Western
cheeseburger.
Bacon, whatever. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the We Are Los Angeles Hockey Club podcast. I swore I wasn't going to mess up the title of our podcast, and that's the first thing I did.
It's all right. We're shorthanded tonight. We're doing the best that we can.
And the best that we can is, I think, good enough.
We got some really good stats and info for you guys tonight. This is Wally.
Robert here.
And this is Dave manning the audio controls here. Please bear with me if we sound like crap. But here we go. Let's do this, boys. How do you guys... this is after the Arizona game. How do you guys feel right now?
Well, I feel like we stole a point.
Yeah, a very undeserved 1 point. But we could have stolen 2. And when you can steal 2, you steal both, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I would have rather have had 2, but I don't think we deserved one. But hey, fuck it,
I want to lose. We should be falling for Dahlin at this point.
No. I don't think that's going to happen.
It's not going to happen. But our current personnel, I just don't see us making a run. I mean, maybe we'll compete for a playoff spot ultimately, and maybe we get in, maybe we don't. I personally think we don't, but
I think that's fair.
I think we'll get.
Let's get to that later. Let's get that down here.
All right.
Oh, that's down. Oh, that's
down there.
It is down there. I just had to throw in my 2 cents right now.
I don't understand Arizona. They're getting hot right when they should be going full tank.
Why
are they not playing
11-2-3 in their last 16 games now?
Nice.
That's not how you tank.
Yeah, that's not how you tank at all.
That's the exact opposite of tanking.
So, granted, plus they always play us tough. Ever since the 2012 Western Conference, pretty much every game to them is like a conference final. And, sometimes when we don't show up to play, we get burned. And it's kind of happened a lot against them over the years.
Pretty much. Yeah, especially with Arizona. Yeah, you're right, dude. I think since that conference final, it's just been a tough place to play at.
Yeah,
for sure. But I guess we can get into some of the games before this. You guys want to start at Columbus?
Yeah, let's do the homestand.
Sure, homestand. That would be the first game right after the trade deadline, right?
I believe so.
Or no, the first game after the Vegas.
Yeah.
I believe so.
I think
That's
so.
Thursday. That's right. Because Monday the 26th was the deadline, and then we played the home and home Tuesday.
Which was also your birthday.
It was. Hey, thank you.
I did remember.
And then we did, because we did the podcast on the 27th after that. So, yeah, Columbus.
I remember starting off really bad and just getting really angry and maybe saying some mean things on Facebook about the team, and then they turned it around as I kept drinking. So that was a pretty good night.
I wish we could have
a 2-0 hole.
Right,
yeah.
Some of those obscene quotes. But it's turned into a promising game.
I followed with 2 goals.
You like that?
I like that. He's been getting hot. He kind of got benched tonight, but I guess we'll get around to that.
Just to bring him up a bit, do you think we're kind of doing like what we did with Toffoli a couple years when he was really young? We really limited his minutes so we could limit his production, and in turn sign him for a cheaper contract in his first couple of years, because that's just kind of he's our top line for left wing, and yet, last night he played 11 minutes, 23 seconds. Tonight it was
11:01, I think.
Yeah.
He was the low of all the Kings forwards. But, he has been getting that top line time. Maybe if he had power play time, he'd be adding some points, but
I don't think there's space for him doing something like that. But
I do love what he brings to the table, though. That game against Vancouver last night, that great defensive play, that the other interception where he draws a penalty, he makes things happen without being on the score sheet.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. If he's doing this, I think he can do this in a third line winger role. And I think in the off season, if we were to somehow get a bona fide 30+ goal scoring winger to play with Kopitar, that you can bump the Iafallo down and still his production will still be there. Because you think about it, maybe Velarde's our third line center, or even put Kempe on his off wing and utilize that speed. I mean, that's a hell of a third line.
Yeah,
and,
that sounds very dangerous. And
so,
pesky too. I feel like Iafallo would get in deep.
Yeah,
those,
exactly.
Those dirty pucks.
Or if you
Kempe too. I mean, they're both great forecheckers. There's only a handful of guys with more takeaways than giveaways on the Kings this year.
I think that's right.
Those are two of the guys.
So,
yeah. But yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if the idea is to sign him to like a team-friendly deal, this is the right way to do it, I think.
I kind of have a crush on him, and I think we just try for that 8-year contract as soon as we can sign him up.
Well, that would be on July 1st.
Yeah, just give him one of those Yarncroke deals, like 8 years, $14 million total.
Yeah, right. Well, I think Yarncroke was off the
He
top
was
of my head.
6 years, right?
It was 5 years and $10 million total.
Yeah,
so
it's a steal.
That is a steal. And then Columbus to once again Saturday day game against Chicago.
That's not the business. That's not what we do.
We had it, and then some undisciplined play by Doughty, just really. I mean, what
you
can
just
you
don't do that.
You can't do that. It's a selfish play. Stevens basically all but called him out and said we had some guys take plays really selfishly or something like that, and it's just he's too good for that. I mean,
had that reaction to the penalty had a different result, maybe it sparked the team, right? Would we still be talking so negatively about his behavior?
If it sparked the team, yes. But then, I mean, you could see Kopitar. He was clearly seeing Doughty's frustration. He's trying to go to the penalty box and calm him down. And you could see Doughty just waving him away. He's probably get the F out of here.
It's on my Twitter.
I got this. Yeah. So.
Well, I'm not glad, but I'm almost glad they scored during his extra penalty that really shouldn't have been taken. So if we're gonna lose that game, just make it hurt and make him hurt for it. I mean, I love him, but
but I mean that call at the end where it was it wasn't even the action ref that made the call. It was the back ref, and he was in no position to make that hooking call. And he, was it Pearson, right? That got his stick, and then you can just see him. But Pearson kept his composure. He just he just looked up on the thing and then shook his head, and then that's all it. He didn't mouth off. And I mean, granted,
Doughty's been in the league long enough, and you got to cut that part of your game out.
Is that a little bit of immaturity on his end?
Definitely.
Or is
it's more.
Call it passion?
It's more than a little bit, but
I mean, it could be both. You can't
but
it's not the passion that I want.
You can't be he's just a young guy and he's he'll learn. It's no, he's already a veteran of he's been here since 08, 09.
He's got a letter on his jersey.
He's got to show some more leadership
example,
and so at least and it just sucks because we had to stew on that game for 4 days because we didn't play until the next Thursday, and Ovechkin was in town that day and we win. It was, I think that was our best team game. I mean, that was the first game this whole year when we had our whole team healthy.
Yes. And
the whole complete team healthy, and it showed. It was it was a pretty solid game. I mean,
we did the novelty thing of scoring first too, which is I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah.
What's happening here? That was weird. That was a bit of a like you said, a novelty. I haven't seen that in a while.
I just, it just goes back to where that's why I don't, I mean, I don't think we get in down the stretch just because, we can't keep with this, the style of play is just unsustainable.
Yeah.
And
even if we did get in, I don't even want to get there yet.
No, I don't even want to get there.
Yeah, kind of going off that good feelings from that Washington game.
Absolutely.
Pretty short-lived.
Short-lived after, St. Louis. Forbert, -5. Doughty was a -4 right there, but that pairing was just...
Yeah, the pairing was on for a lot of goals.
Overall, terrible game for Quick, though.
It was one of those opportunities where I got free tickets and I got to go, and I kind of just rather would have been home.
Yeah.
And I made the wrong choice of not opting to buy a beer in the second intermission for us to give up 2 goals in the first minute of the third period.
Well, it was 1 p.m. in Vegas, and I was in Vegas, so I was just already at that
30 beers.
Yeah, right. Pretty much. Now, one of my good friends, it was his bachelor party, so congratulations, Mike. I'm on. It's unfortunate I can't make the wedding, but it's Cinco de Mayo Saturday in Cancun, so yeah, I mean,
if the wedding finds itself there, but other than that,
that's
right.
Yeah. So
that
anyway.
St. Louis game was kind of one of the rare ones this year where we we just absolutely crumbled. I mean, you've seen us give up 2-goal leads, 3-goal leads, and fight back. And
Hey, we won the special teams battle.
We did. We did.
That game was just not. Although shout out to Kopitar for that beautiful pass when the game was still
somewhat in reach.
I think that made it 2-1, right?
Yeah, 2-1.
That was a great pass. And before the ink dried on that, we gave like three more goals or something.
But yeah, I mean, you gotta like the 61% on the face-off, in the face-off circle too. So,
I mean, we
guess
still put up 40 shots.
positives, yeah.
I mean, we were outshot, but that was just it was our worst game of the year. We at least moved on from it and bounced back and won the next game. Granted, it was against the Vancouver team that had won 17 of their last 54 coming into that game, and they're in the full tank mode.
What was the stat? I think they had taken points off us like 6 of the last 8 games at Staples Center. They're one of those bad teams that we play bad against.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that happens, by the way.
And I swore Nick Dowd was going to get a hat trick at some point, right? There was one of those pucks he just kind of turned around and flung at the net, and I saw it going in, but
thank God, right? And then I guess that leads us into today. We already went over that a little bit.
We were pretty much outplayed and outworked, and
in the
we're
first,
lucky we got a point. We just did not do enough.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? Was it 3-0 them?
Yeah,
or was it
for what, a minute?
A little bit? Yeah, and then we came back, but still,
but
we can't keep doing this.
That they can't get out of the gate just firing on all cylinders. It kind of blows me away. A team that's desperate to get into the playoff picture, become a cup contender again.
I mean, is it coaching? I don't know.
I've been debating coaching or players, or I mean,
at this
probably
point,
both.
It has to be, it's a combination. But which one weighs heavier, right? I think it may be the players at this point.
I was going coaching. I don't know. I like when the players we go down 2-0.
Here's what I'm going to do.
He's going Bud Light cap.
Bud Light cap, heads, tails.
There we go.
Heads is coaching.
Coaching fault.
Coaching 2 against 1.
Put him on the hot seat.
Can we check these? They may be rigged.
Are these caps regulation size or what?
But I mean, where does it start though? Like, does it start on the back end with the defense making great plays or smart plays out of the defensive zone?
Well, not according to some Kings insiders and or management. But
what are they saying, man?
They're just saying that it's a small sample size for Ledoux, and he hasn't shown anything that to get in the lineup.
We might not have seen it, but I'm pretty confident Ledoux could put up a -5. Maybe give him a few more games.
Well, absolutely. Our worst game of the season at the time was Ledoux's last game. It was a Carolina 7-3 game, and but Ledoux, I mean, he was only a -1 that game, and in 18 plus minutes, I believe that was the most he's played all season. And then management. I agree. Management, they decided that we needed better defense, so they made the Phaneuf trade. And I mean, okay, he's better than what Gabrick's doing, but I would rather just have called up somebody internally, like even Gravel or Ledoux, and then just have them try and gel and figure it out. I mean,
what's weird is not even giving Gravel like an honest chance at doing it. You've seen him.
Or Ledoux. I mean, it's like it's weirder, to give McDermott
34 games.
34
games
for McDermott.
And for what?
After 10 games,
blows me away.
I saw what I need.
4 or 5 games,
exactly
you get his game right there.
Yeah, if you're going to keep him on the team and play him against a team like Anaheim or something every other, not every game, but it's like, kind of like what we did with Jordan Nolan. Like,
you play him when you need him.
You play him when you need him, and then, just rotate him. But it's just like, or, to just, I don't know.
Tonight, I mean, that slow start, you could kind of look at everyone. The defense, we couldn't get it out of our own zone. The forwards couldn't complete a pass for 2 periods. We couldn't take possession into their zone. He shouldn't have been facing a shot from there, but that first goal was on Campbell too. I mean, you're looking right at the guy.
Right.
Yeah, that's another thing. A backup goalie who doesn't have much experience.
I was fully on board with the Kemper trade.
I'm
also, after having seen Campbell for 2 in a period, I'm a little bit scared.
He does not look poised. He does not look like he.
I mean, maybe the jitters a little bit. Maybe the first couple of games.
It could be.
You know what I mean? He's a relatively young guy, I would imagine, and he's in a playoff.
He deserves that cushion, but at the same time, we don't have it to give.
Yeah.
Although it looks like we'll have 2 more back-to-back, so 2 more games.
I can live
If
with
we're living or dying on those 2 games.
Is it what
We got
Minnesota,
Winnipeg, and Arizona,
right,
Anaheim.
and Anaheim? But at least the ones no travel.
that. Right.
Oh, speaking of that Anaheim game, I'm putting Robert on the spot to see if he secured his spot to play on the ice after that game.
Hello.
I haven't yet, but I should be able to pull the trigger.
Alrighty.
I want to get out there on that pretty bad Anaheim
Oh,
ice.
it's terrible
as I've
ice.
heard.
Is it really
It's so
bad?
hot too because they take when the game's over, they turn off all the air. So when you're down there, it's on the bench. You're actually sweating.
That seems like really unprofessional on their end.
Well, I mean, I don't blame them. Once the game's over, they want to
Yeah, right?
do that. So
That is a pretty cool experience, though. I'd have to imagine that's pretty neat.
I did Staples Center before,
That's
and
cool.
my favorite part was going in the refs' locker room and seeing pictures of refs making calls on the wall.
oh yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty
This is
When I played at Honda Center about 6 years ago, we didn't even get a locker room. We had to change in there was a section that was
Like an office?
roped off. There weren't even hard walls. It was those curtains, and then that was our changing area.
That's what we had, but we got the bathrooms. We had the refs' bathrooms.
Okay.
So they had framed ref pictures and then a outline of what the proper uniform looked like.
Nice.
And it was a little funny.
That does seem kind of silly. But you came up with this. You had found a good stat, Wally, about Muzzin's play recently from the since the FNUF trade.
Yeah, I guess we can.
And it's pretty telling, I think.
I guess we can go to our call 'em out section right now. It was.
I wasn't prepared for that.
It was in my
My
call 'em
bad.
out
This
section.
is a wild show.
This is a wild show. There's no structure. There's nothing. We're just going with it. No, it's cool.
I told Zach that this was going to happen. I
It's
hope
all
he's
right.
not mad.
Zach, he's probably still up.
He's probably awake, looking at his phone, and
The worst part is that you guys heard it. He said, "Text me when you guys are done."
He did say that, and it just kind of got me really? But it's all right. So, Jake Muzzin, yes, in the 14 games since the FNUF trade, he has 0 goals, 5 assists, is a -5, and has 13 giveaways in those 14 games. And and with the total minutes that he's played, it translates to about 2.8 giveaways per 60 minutes, which is really high. You usually want to keep it in about the 2 range. So,
do you have his time on ice average over that time, or we could calculate it
Average?
out real quick?
I do. Actually, it's actually right here. His time on ice average was 1941, not counting the 22 minutes he played tonight and change. So we'll say about 20 plus minutes.
So
in
he's
those
kind
games.
of ice time wise, he's kind of fallen down the pecking order a little bit. I mean, I've been noticing Martinez FNUF looking more like 21, 22, and Forbert's breaking 20 most nights.
Yeah, I mean, when Forbert's playing 20 plus minutes on your top pairing, and he's still, not considered a top pairing guy, and he was drafted 8 years ago.
Right.
What are we doing?
If he was drafted in the 5th round,
We're.
he would not have been offered a contract out of college. I'm convinced. Like Steven Johnson this year, we're not going to sign him. He was a 4th round pick.
Right.
That's a decent asset that we spent on him. He's not going to get signed. And Forbert, we just keep pushing it.
But going back to Muzz here, I mean, what do you do as a coaching staff to get that guy going again?
I have a theory.
Go for it.
Maybe not a theory, but
And a suggestion.
I really like Christian Folan,
Okay.
and I really want to bring him back as somewhere in my 5 to 7. But these last few games, you've been seeing maybe a few more errors creep in.
Okay.
Muzzin and Doughty's numbers on this year are far and away the best on the Kings. The sample size is not as big as some of these other pairings, but I mean the goals for versus goals against are just up there, possessions up there.
Right.
So I think if you shift Muzzin up to Doughty, you have an elite pair. You go Martinez FNUF, no one's changing it right now, for better or for worse. And then you can drop Forbert down to minutes he can manage better, slide the do in, and let's just twist it up a little bit.
Yeah,
No?
I just that Forbert Folan pair. It reminds me so much of that when it was McNabb with Green a couple years ago.
Okay.
Like 2 guys who are basically more defensive defensemen, and you can't if you get caught
And not fleet of foot.
and you can't really have some reliable guy who could just can just skate the puck if need be or make that good
That's why
outlet
I'm going
pass.
Forbert Ledoux.
Forbert Ledoux.
I'm scratching
instead of
Folan for a few
Hmm.
games. Because I mean he has some errors
Okay.
creeping in. You can stack your top 2 pairs, get Ledoux in there to kind of move the puck for Forbert, have Forbert against lower quality competition. Try it out. I don't know. Muzzin needs
that is a better suggestion than the mix of the personnel that we have now. Put it that way. Although if it were up to me, I would go Muzzin with Doughty. I would go Martinez with Folan, and I would go Phaneuf and Ledoux, and I would scratch Forbert. But I mean, hey, management is square peg round hole. They're going to keep forcing that Forbert thing, so we're relegated to.
I mean, what are they expecting out of Forbert that he
to be better than Tarasenko?
Praying and hoping.
And almost,
maybe if we just make the sample size a little bigger.
As good as Jaden Schwartz, because Schwartz was 14 and Tarasenko 15, and I'm sorry, Forbert 15, Tarasenko 16.
I'm sorry, I almost
in
had
the
a panic
2010
attack
draft.
right now. The screensaver came on to the laptop. I almost lost my mind right now. Excuse me on that one. My bad. Anywho,
hey, it's all good as long as we're still recording.
We are still recording here. Thank God.
Okay.
But
let's go to playoffs then.
You want to go straight to playoffs?
We keep pushing it off. Let's
Playoffs?
get it.
Hey, you talking about playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Yeah, this is the third
We
time.
can't even win a game.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you guys, dude. If we do, by chance, get into the playoffs,
We're not beating San Jose.
No,
we're not
no,
beating
no.
Anaheim if they somehow get the 2 seed. Maybe we can beat Vegas if we get a wild card.
there's nowhere we're
wild
in
one.
Vegas. I'll be honest with you.
I think we can.
I get this horrible feeling that if we make the playoffs, we're just going to get swept right out. And we're going to get like all excited for this playoff run or the supposed playoff run.
Which is why I'm kind of gearing up because I'd rather like just, I don't know, play the younger kids, so to speak, and then just see what we got and on D. Not, it's just scratch forward. Okay? Or if you want to scratch Folan, fine. And then just put in Ledoux. But like, scratch them both and put Gravel in too. I mean, they're
at this point, right?
Just, the draft is going to be deep. There's so many teams that, because, okay, just think about last year. If we would have won game 82 against Anaheim because it went into overtime,
right,
we would have dropped 2 spots in the draft. It was a meaningless win, and yet we still went out and tried to do that. And if you're
we got the guy who's maybe the next future of the franchise. I mean,
exactly. And if we would have,
that's a great.
I don't know if he would have fallen to 13th at all. Here's actually what
no way he would have fallen that far.
Here's actually what we should have done, because if the Kings had won in regulation that day,
yeah,
the Oilers would have won the division. So when it was tied late, we should have, as a coaching staff and a team, known this and be like, we have nothing to lose. Pull the goalie when it's tied. Try and get that 6-on-5 just to try and show that we're going for it, to be like, okay, we're not making it, but we're going to try our best to get you to not win the division, Ducks. And we didn't. We played conservatively for the tie, a meaningless tie. And if they score on the empty net, well, then we lose anyway, and then we get the higher draft spot. But anyway, that's my rant of last year. But hey, it all worked out. We got Velarde.
Well, yeah, if you're not going to compete, don't make the playoffs. I mean,
Velarde
exactly.
but
yeah, exactly.
The
Like
last time
Robert made my point. He drew me back in. Yeah, exactly. If
the
you're not
last time we
make
didn't make the playoffs before that, we were primed to pick up a Barzal or so many names, but I
Barzal,
digress.
Brock Besser,
let's not
Yul
go down
Eriksson
that.
Ek.
Konechny.
I didn't say that on purpose because I knew you would.
Let's not go down that
But
route.
this season, I think we're going to squeak in. I mean, our position's not bad. We're streaky, but these other teams are flawed. I don't think we are a title contender. I don't see us taking a deep run. I think we could compete with anyone in the Pacific. I really don't think San Jose's that good. I don't think Anaheim's that good.
That's right, because you had them out of the playoffs.
I had them out of the playoffs. I don't think Calgary's that good if they even get in.
No,
And Vegas, I
Calgary's
mean,
that good,
it's a wild card. They could be that good, or they could wash all the way out.
yeah, or they could fall apart against a really like a playoff ready team.
It'd be more beneficial for us to miss the playoffs if we're not going to win it all,
Absolutely, yeah.
But I mean, we're having to pitch ourselves a Doughty. Hopefully, we get in, get out of the first round, and not be like Chicago last year.
You said pitch ourselves to Doughty?
We're having to sell
I'm
ourselves.
going to
I don't
stop
think
it right
we
there.
have to sell ourselves to Doughty. I think that's a little ridiculous.
I think
No.
he's
9 of our last 12 are against teams that are also fighting for a playoff berth. So there our competition.
So are those big games? We're not going to show up.
A must
no.
win. Well, no.
Absolutely
Well, let's
not.
see. Saturdays at 1 p.m. against New Jersey. So that means Keith Kincaid is going to start. And he has I want to say a 9.6 off the top of my head, 964 save percentage against us. And
A Saturday versus a backup, that's a loss.
that's a lot.
Wait,
and
you said Saturday
bet the under
afternoon?
that. That's my lock of the week, by the way. We're going to Wally's picks right now. Pick New Jersey
Man,
plus
we might have
1.5
a
because they're
30-minute
going to
show
be
here, folks.
and parlay that with the under. If the under is 5.5 that game,
Okay.
that's easy money. That's my pick of the week. So, but yes, the only teams that we play that aren't in playoff bound: Detroit, Edmonton, and Arizona. But
those are
who knows?
games we're probably gonna lose, just because that's what we do.
Well, Arizona's at home though, so at least we got that going for us. But
So we're gonna
But
lose
you have to
by a
factor
lot.
in Kemper has to come in and own us for a game. Since they conjured up some goalie tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, our guy's sick. Oh, we just happen to have this guy. I've never heard of him in my life,
No.
and I know a lot of.
I did
players.
earlier because
Yeah.
when they told Domingue that whole fiasco, remember that? When basically they told Louis Domingue, he's like, hey, we don't want you around, and then Tampa picked him up,
Yeah.
and then that's when I heard of that guy. It's like Aiden Hill.
This
But
guy
yes,
wasn't
you're right.
like a
He's
triple
not.
backup, was he? Like the equipment
know.
manager's son or something like that?
No,
Or,
he's
the Snickers be a goalie for a day contest winner or something like that.
He's like one of those guys when you're playing NHL franchise and you've gone a few seasons and now the fake guys that you've drafted are
It's like,
starting to have
who's that?
impacts.
Yeah,
They don't exist in real life.
yeah. That's awesome.
But he beat the
like
Kings.
Major League. Who are these friggin' guys?
But I guess that leads us.
He was a third-round pick in 2015.
Oh, so maybe has a
there it
future.
He might have a future.
Maybe.
He's already in the NHL.
Better than our second-round pick in 2015. Right-handed defenseman that we traded in the Bishop trade, Eric Cernak. I know. Man, that's how many second-round picks have we gotten rid of but haven't played really?
Yeah.
It was him,
Where we
Valentin,
haven't really felt
Zykov.
Valentin
Yeah,
Zykov, and McCune.
Yeah. Anderson Dolan better keep his bags packed, right?
Yeah, right. Might be shipped out any minute now.
Right.
But I
Christopher Gibson, if we're going back a little bit,
Oh,
but
man,
he's
he's-
finally
Yeah.
he's had some good. Isles should just go to him because why not? He had 3 really good starts.
He had a 50 saver the other day.
He
right?
had 50 saves on 52 or 3 shots against Calgary in Calgary. Well, that's not saying much. They can't win at home, but yes, Christopher Gibson, former Kings property, that the Islanders somehow got.
They just pounce on all of our.
Yeah, Thomas Hickey, J.F. Berube, and
Oh, that's right.
Hickey
I
made a
forgot
nice
about
little
Hickey.
career
Yeah,
over there.
he did something, right?
He's played
he has a
maybe 400 games or something.
multi-million-dollar, multi-year contract, so that's not nothing.
I'll never forget a real fast story about Thomas Hickey. I was at that draft party in downtown LA. Jack Johnson was there. I think Michael Camilleri was there too, and they announced that we were picking Thomas Hickey, and I've never heard so many boos in my life. Not ever at any gathering of Kings fans. It was pretty bizarre. Everyone was rather upset. I was rather drunk, but that's besides the point. But
that
as I've been trying to for the last
2007
couple
draft.
When was
times in-
Colton Tubert? Was he
Colton
next?
was the
Colton
next
was
week.
next-
Next
yeah.
year, he was 13th overall in 2008, and Erik Karlsson was 15th overall. Could you imagine if we would have drafted that? That would have been Doughty second, him at 13, and then Voinov we got with our second-round pick that year. 3 good right-handed defensemen.
What could have been?
Well, even though Tubert was a right-handed defenseman, but they can't all be winners, kid. Mine has a candy corn in it.
They can't all be winners, son. Is Granny spry? We digest. But
We could have gotten Voracek with that pick. Voracek went 7th overall. Anyway, I digress. Where are we going?
We're
This
trying
is
to
so
go to.
all over the
I've been
wall.
trying to go to fan questions for 5 or 10 minutes already.
Did fans actually speak out?
We did have Christina speak out. Christina
right.
Murphy. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about just now about the playoffs.
About the
She's
playoffs.
asking how likely is it we'll make the playoffs.
Put a percent on it. I'm
Should
going-
we put up a
I
poll?
say I'll do some odds. I'll be odds maker on this one.
I like this.
The odds are 55% that will make it.
Okay,
so
that's the number I had in mind too.
If you want
I think that's
to
fair.
translate around betting purposes, that's goes to about minus 130 or so. So you'd have to lay $130 to win 100, or if you're a small roller like me, $13 to win 10, and then if you don't think they'll make it, it'll be around plus 110. So if you say 10, that they don't make it, you'll probably end up winning about 11. Something like that. I don't know the exact math off the top of my head.
It's interesting. That always it escapes me.
I've never understood it.
Yeah, it escapes me.
Hey, stick with me, kids. You'll go places. Except for tonight, that was Minnesota Wild, man. They've been so dominant at home, 24-5-6, and they just lay an egg.
Why have they been so good? Do they have like an old center that's just kind of tearing it up?
Hey, I mean, we've been trying to collect 2003 draft first rounders. So, I mean, we got Phaneuf, we got Dustin Brown, Jeff Carter, Mike Richards, et al., Brian Boyle.
Did Mike Richards get to play in that alumni game earlier?
I don't know. I mean, Stoll was there.
I felt so sad for Stoll. Like, he looked like an NHL player.
Yeah, all in
his
shape.
peers, some of them are still playing. I mean,
yeah,
he must be looking at Torrey Mitchell and Nate Thompson like, I could have done
or
what these guys are doing.
But realistically, where could he play? Anywhere in the NHL?
He has no shot in the NHL anymore.
No, of course not.
Hey, Seattle expansion team, they're watering down the talent, right? By getting all these guys.
They can sign him for like a year, and then he can retire and be like their Sean O'Donnell.
Oh, nice. Pick up a nice little TV gig right there. I'd like that.
I think he wants to be our Sean. I think he wants to replace Sean full time. That's what I think.
I don't think that's happening.
No.
Sean
No, I mean, he
good.
stayed, obviously. He wants to stay here.
Yeah,
he wants a career in TV. I mean, he's going to ride off the coattails of his wife.
I know he's
I'm just kidding.
supposed to be working with our guys on face-offs, and Kempe's still bringing up the rear on like anyone eligible for face-off statistics.
Yeah, it's
at
pretty
like
bad.
39. But I mean, don't let Amadio off the hook. He's a natural center, and he's only at 42, 43.
Yeah, he's also really bad.
Those are not good enough.
No, absolutely not.
You need to be in the 48 to 52 range, for better for worse.
I know a certain center who's in the above 50 range in the Ontario Hockey League. I won't mention his name, but let's just say we drafted him 11th overall.
Did he get traded this year?
He did get traded.
Pretty big package going the other way.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I was talking to my Rangers correspondent, and he was talking about how he loved Sean Day, who came over with him, a third-round pick for the Rangers a couple of years ago. And Sean Day is averaging almost a point a game as a defenseman for Kingston, too. So, and they just, it's funny because, like, seeing all those highlights, you see Velarde, and it's like a lot of times it's like, oh, and there's Sean Day. And, man, the Rangers are there. You want to talk about stacked with young talent. Jeff Gordon, bravo, man. Really, my hat's off to you.
3-4 years.
Well, I don't even think I think they can, or they can just be like, look, we want to go for it next year. We don't want to waste another year of Hank in his prime, and make a trade for they could if they wanted.
They need
to.
that one big center,
They do. They've never had that, but I don't know. Mika's advantage. This is his first year as a full-time center. I think he's still getting used to it. It sucks that, remember, he came off like he had 5 power play goals in their first week, and then he ended up getting hurt, and then Kreider got hurt, which really hurt his production value because they had some good chemistry. But now Rangers, they're flying around out there. It's anyway. There's my Velarde Sean Day tangent. But
there you go.
Anyway,
I mean, they have so
to get
many,
Velarde in there.
So many bodies on defense for the Rangers coming up. I mean, they got D'Angelo, they got Pionk, they got Hayek or whatever they got from
Hayek.
Tampa.
Yep. I mean, still have Rob O'Gara, still have John Gilmore.
Got Sean Day.
Gilmore. I called your number, didn't I? Oh no, you didn't, Coach. Oh well, better luck next year.
Oh my God, you were peaking so hard right now.
I know, right?
But how likely do I think we're going to make the playoffs? It's going back to the fan question. Full circle, right?
Right.
I don't think it's very likely we make the playoffs. I think it's well under 50%.
I mean, you got guys playing well above, like Phaneuf. He's playing well above what his current skill set at his age is right now. I mean, that's not sustainable. Forward playing 20-plus minutes as a top pairing guy, that's not sustainable.
But you look at the teams who would take a spot from us, and they all have plenty of holes. I mean, San Jose just is not. I just don't think they're that good.
Maybe I'm just pessimistic.
I'm very
San
pessimistic.
Jose. They're. I think they're great. I mean, Evander Kane was perfect. I mean,
I love the
how long
Kane
have I been saying that Evander Kane is just like that perfect winger to finally replace Marlowe for them. I think they get the 2 seed. I think Anaheim gets the 3 seed. And I think Kings are battling for a wild card spot with Dallas. I mean, who knows? They still have a really good defense. But I mean, Mathot got hurt tonight again. By the way, he took a puck off the face. So
Yeah, Colorado's in there.
I don't see us. I don't see Calgary. I still think that
Calgary out or in?
out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I see Calgary out. I don't see them in.
Yeah, I don't see them.
But
making it out.
I mean, they have the majority of their games are at home, and they can't win at home down the stretch. So, and then I ultimately do think it'll be Colorado and Dallas getting in, and Nathan McKinnon will be your Hart Trophy winner because they'll get in the playoffs.
Who do you have winning the Calder? Just going off topic here.
Going off topic, I think you got to give it to Barzal now. I mean,
He pretty much just got it by default with the injuries.
Yeah, with the injuries to
Besser,
Besser.
McAvoy.
Kind of had him all year a little bit. I like him.
And I mean, Clayton Keller kind of
It's just
Keller
floating
kind of
between
fell
one
off.
and two. Yeah.
Sergachev kind of fell off, and like you said, McAvoy injury.
Kempe
I mean,
was never
Never
really in
in
it.
the
But
discussion. Yeah,
was never really in it other than that hat trick he got against.
he was in the conversation.
He
Like,
was
they
in the-
started
a
the
bit.
conversation a little bit, and then
But yeah, I mean
you
that
keep
wasn't
playing
his.
center when
You
you're out
know,
of center.
these other guys like Kempe is not getting the minutes that these other guys were getting.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just kind of like
and Kempe was shooting 19% for a while, so his numbers are going to even out.
Yeah.
so.
But I mean, he's a 30 to 40 point speedy forward. That's what he is. He's not Barzal. He's just not. He's not Besser. He's
connecting.
But go back to these fan questions here.
Sure.
I don't mean to cut you boys off here. We kind of answered Steven's question.
We did.
Yeah, we kind of went into it.
Let's look at the second part. What teams are tops in the conference?
Oh,
To me, pretty clear.
To
I
me,
mean,
it's Nashville and Winnipeg.
yeah, it has to be.
Yeah.
And it
Nashville
just
for
sucks
sure.
because we're gonna see those two teams play in the second round, and it just with the playoff format the way it is, it's like, it's cheating us out of a conference final of,
that
the,
would
two,
be
of the
ideal.
two best
That would
teams.
be ideal.
Because one of
Because it
them will
wasn't
come
best on-
steamroll the Pacific then, right?
Well, no, it
More
would.
than likely.
Well, in the conference final,
Yeah. That's the winner of that.
to me, I think conference final is going to
Sharks,
be
them?
no, Anaheim and.
I'm not buying the Ducks.
You're not buying the Ducks?
Yeah.
Well, I'm psyching myself into. I really don't want to buy it, but if they could stay healthy, I think they're the. I mean, look at that depth down the middle and on D.
I don't
And
think
John
they did enough
Gibson.
at the trade deadline.
They
to,
do have the
to
centers,
warrant.
But they got Henrique before the deadline. They
Right.
needed a center, and then Vermette's your fourth line center. I mean, they're stacked. They got the wings to fill it out. They had the defenseman.
I think Nashville takes it.
Well, I think
Yeah.
Nashville ultimately wins the conference,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
it's unfortunate that we're gonna have to see Nashville play Winnipeg in the second round,
That's
unless
okay.
Winnipeg just tanks and tries to go to the first wild card spot and then dominates the Pacific, and then we
They're-
can see that.
They're too far up, aren't
But
they?
they are too
That's
far up
super
there.
methodical, dude. I don't know if that's realistic.
No, it's not.
That's like the GM can want it, but how do you tell the players hey,
Try
I know your
this,
contract's up next
Well,
year.
how
and
did
we
we-
want to win a cup? But
How did we tell
Yeah.
it? We had a
Yeah,
3-0
come on.
lead in Game 82 against the Jets, and then we just gave them that game because we didn't want to play Nashville first round, and we'd rather play San Jose. And what happened? We got bounced. So
Yeah,
you got to play it
we
out,
Got creamed.
pretty much. Yep.
Here we go. Let's go to the second page of this
Sure.
outline here, since we're doing the damn thing. You actually brought this up already. You gave us the Velarde update before we even wanted it.
Guys, I know. Like I said, we're all in this. We're all out of the place, but we.
So he's
I'm
got
loving it.
And I gave out my calling you out and Wally's picks already. So
Velarde's
That's a
on
good-
53 points in 29 games just to keep his stats up to date. Not too bad.
No, not bad at all. Not bad at all. We've always talked about do we really want to burn that 1 year? But you say we can do 9 games without burning a year?
no, we got some clarification from John Rosen of LA Kings Insider. His entry level contract starts next year, not this year.
Okay.
So I'm admitting I'm wrong. I thought we could bring him up, but then here's the thing: we didn't. This was all speculation before he signed his ELC. So
Yeah.
per cap friendly, once he signed it, I noticed that it didn't begin this year; it began next year. So then that kind of signaled to me once it was on there that it was.
Nice catch. You almost got it. We have a mosquito that's been in here for maybe about 45 minutes, terrorizing all three of us. So, but we haven't got it.
Anyway, no. So I just want to say, but apparently I didn't know this. If his junior season ends, the final regular season game ends March 18th, and then they start the playoffs after that. But once the playoffs are over, he's actually eligible to go to the Reign.
Because he would
Okay.
sign a temporary
because he would
ATO.
sign an ATO. However, it would
But he
only be till the end of this year. Like he couldn't next year. He either has to go to the big club, the Kings, or back to juniors for his 4th year.
I couldn't understand why he wouldn't be able to sign a PTO with us if we wanted
Right.
to. I don't know. But I guess kind of what we were talking about all along is I was just wrong.
I think-
Yeah.
I was like,
Well,
for
no,
sure he
'cause
can't
I
play in
think-
Ontario.
I
And that's
think
the only
he
place
could
can play.
have
Yeah.
if we would have signed him earlier. You know, I actually reached out to like some insiders because I noticed that a lot of players they had signed entry-level contracts. Like a few of them signed before December 31st,
Mhm.
and then there were no signings at all until March 1st. So I'm wondering, like, I don't know if somebody can like get some clarification. I'll try and look into it further.
Right.
Like if there's a reason for that, like because Velarde signed on like March 3rd or something. Hey, 3-3. That's Wally's day. 3 righties, 3 lefties.
There we go.
So, anyway,
They need to start adopting the Wally method.
I mean, you know, it's just like, was McBain like that good overall? No. Yet
Probably
why was it day and night when he was in the lineup where we were much better compared to
Not
that?
to change sports though, but it's kind of like that. I hate saying it, but like it's like that Lonzo Ball effect that he's good, doesn't really terrorize the score sheet too much, but he does everything else right. Like he runs the floor, he gets hands
Sure.
in the lane, things like that. Things that don't normally show up on like a stat sheet, and I think McBain offered those types of things. You
Well,
know,
tonight
the
there was-
intangibles. I hate saying that word because I don't really know what it means.
There were two
I see
plays
what
I
you-
remember tonight where I believe it led to a goal. Muzzin was on the right side and tried to backhand clear it out, and it didn't get out of the blue line. They kept it in, and I
Yeah.
think they scored. And then a few plays later, Doughty is on the right side and forehands it out of the zone, and that's everything we're talking about. You just can't make all the plays on your backhand.
Right. And then, you know, it's just obviously teams are smart. They see this and they're exploiting the weakness, and they're like, they see, oh, they got 2 lefties out there. Let's forecheck them really hard and try and force a turnover or something. And just, you know, this has been going on for like 4 years.
Right.
Like, how can management not see this?
We get
Or-
forechecked into our own zone by these bad teams. Like, they're not skilled. They just are willing
Have a
to
bit of
try.
They
speed,
just know,
They got a
yeah.
bit of speed and they're willing to try. That's the best way to put it, dude.
So, I don't know. You know what? It's at least I've gotten to the point where I have enough data to people are actually like listening, and so that's all you can really ask
You
for.
really can't like argue against
Yeah.
it because it's
You know,
there.
like
it's
like
factual.
Ledoux. Okay, sure, it's only a 7-game sample size, but like you know, we scored 25 goals in those 7 games.
It's
That's
a positive sample size.
3.57 goals per game. We've allowed 15 goals in the 7, so that's 2.14, which would be number 1 in the league, as opposed to 2.55 goals against per game without him. And
See,
so
my big problem with like holding Ledoux's sample size against him is in that sample size, all he did was good things. So you would think the sample size would
translate.
suggest a bigger
I
sample
mean,
size.
like,
you know,
you
like,
know-
let's see if this plays
Yeah,
out.
it's warranted, right?
So-
Like,
you know,
wouldn't-
somebody
have
said-
they tried anything else? Yeah. How'd it work? Oh, pretty well. They didn't do it. I'm like,
Yeah.
why did they not do it anymore?
No.
I don't know.
I have no idea. I can't answer it.
You can't hold him fault for that. You know, he's done
Absolutely not.
everything he could in his time.
I just, there has to be other things at that point. What makes you think, right? Like, does he not get on with guys in the locker room? But then why bring him up then, right? Like, it's so confusing.
It gets to me when we afford people. We just assume that they have so much more info or are infallible in their decisions, and it's just not the case sometimes. I mean, everyone was saying Dean Lombardi, buy out Mike Richards. Look at the numbers, buy out Mike Richards. He didn't do it.
Yeah.
Some people were like, well, he must know what he's doing. Well, he didn't.
Yeah.
It was the wrong decision.
Yeah,
It happens.
It was exactly
Everybody. No one's perfect, but
Yeah, we could have got off scot-free with that, huh? Right, with that, I can't remember what it was called.
we're paying a bit of a cap hit, but it hasn't hurt us yet.
Yeah, it's not going to hurt us for the foreseeable future, I don't think, right?
No, I think it'll wear off without being too much of an impact.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it could have been nothing.
It could have been absolutely nothing, but it is
you
what
know,
it is.
well, so I just did the numbers. So the 14
That was
games
fast, by the way.
since the Phaneuf trade, 8-5-1, so that's 17 points in 14 games, so that's 1.21 points per game. Translates to a really good, actually, 100-point season, but still,
I don't think it's enough.
It would be enough to make
yeah.
the playoffs. But I mean, I'm just saying, comparing to the 7 games with Paul Ledoux, 5-2, that's 1.43. So that's like
Hey, dude, but once this team gets in the playoffs,
That's a 117
bro,
point.
it's a playoff team.
117 point season. So yeah, the numbers. Yeah, it's just double the games, but
It'd be worth a try. You think? I mean, we know who Derek Forbert is.
Right.
He's played over 200 games, probably as a
And
king.
if we've had enough of him, what the hell does management think?
It's not like this. It's not like Dean Lombardi. I mean, I'm sorry. It's not like Rob Blake drafted him.
Yeah, it's not even.
And
his
he has
guy,
ties to him. It's like it's not his guy. Like.
I think we pick on Forward a little bit much because he's in a position he shouldn't be
Right.
in. Like
absolutely.
Like undeserved,
as a third pair shutdown guy.
Okay.
He's really good with his stick, and he's okay.
Sure,
he's not a bad
it was
guy.
like kind of like Boschman last year with the Avs when everybody got hurt and they were thrust. He was thrust into that top pairing role with Tyson Barrie, and they were so bad last year because look who they had on defense. They didn't have anybody else.
No.
And Boschman obviously isn't a top pairing guy, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's done," and I'm like. You know what? No, I think if he's in the right role, he could actually contribute. And sure enough, he's going to Anaheim, and he's on that third pair. He's doing decent
things.
enough. He's doing things.
He's out there skating around.
Well, he and BX out there. Actually, no, I think he's playing with Montour. But
sounds like the senior
BX is
circuit,
playing
like
with
on
Lindholm
PGA
and,
or something like that. That's
hey, they have 3 righty, 3 lefties, so they're doing all right.
They're doing something. They're listening to the podcast.
Right.
They're listening to the wrong one.
So, all right. I think that about wraps it up,
Yeah,
right? I mean, I already got to my pick. New Jersey on Saturday. If they start Kincaid. So.
Are you guys going to do March Madness bracket?
You know what? Speaking of.
I did one for my apartments because they said the top bracket gets $100 off rent next month. So.
Well, there you go. I mean, I helped my wife fill out hers.
I just follow the Obama bracket. Like if Obama puts one out, I'm going to copy it. He's pretty good.
I don't know why. Like I don't watch college basketball at all.
Me either.
Haven't watched a single game this year. And then I click the info and it's like, I look at the points per game and the conference.
UCLA lost today, by
and
the
the
way,
top
to
50.
St. Bonaventure. That's crazy.
USC, I think they should have got in, right?
Yeah, USC got
I'm
snubbed.
gonna say
But
no
whatever.
because I'm a Sun Devil and.
Of course you would.
Well, I'm an
Well,
anteater, so.
for everything else, for everything except football, I like USC football. But
I go to
no.
Iraq,
Here's why
so-
it helped because if USC would have won, they would have obviously got in, and then U of A would have gotten that at-large bid, and consequently ASU would have not gone in. So that's why I was actually
ASU won their bubble game, or they're playing.
I think
we play tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it's Syracuse, so I think they knocked us out of the tournament a couple of years ago. But anyway, so I'm not doing a bracket. I just helped my wife fill out one. I do my hockey bracket.
I don't even know why I asked.
Well, it's all good. 2015, I was in the 99th percentile in the NHL bracket when Chicago won the cup, and then the next year when Pittsburgh won, I was in like the 98th percentile. So
I'm pretty horrible at all of those.
I was horrible last year.
Yeah.
I had Washington and Chicago in the final.
Yeah, I had Chicago in the final last year.
So I'm not perfect, but that's why you play the games,
right? That's why you play the game to win. Anyway, I feel like we did all right here.
I think we did all right without Zach.
I didn't blow
Miss you,
anything
buddy.
up. I didn't get a virus on this computer. I think we're
The
good.
record button is still on.
The record button is still on. Your mic is working.
The Dr. Mantis Toboggan virus. All right, we got to end on that note. Good night, guys.
On that note.
Oh, we got to give a shout out to Grandstand Sports Network.
Oh yeah, Grandstand
You can
Sports
find
Network.
that.
Actually find that on
iTunes podcast app.
You
on
guys
the pike.
jumped all over that. That was
Yes.
great.
Yeah. Oh, we got to give a shout out to our sponsors.
Yes, Grandstand Sports Network, iTunes. You can find our stuff on SoundCloud. You can find us on Facebook. If anyone, I don't know the name off the top of my head.
We are Los Angeles
the
Hockey Club on Facebook.
Yeah.
And on Twitter, at We Are LAHC.
Yeah. And
All right.
then if anyone here, I'm doing a plug for my buddy here. If anyone is into WWE, my buddies at Jobber Sports, they are doing a huge show on WrestleMania, which is coming up soon. Jobber Sports on SoundCloud.
Sure. Cool.
These guys are avid hockey fans too, so they're like, please give us a shout out. Not
Yeah,
like
we'll do
that,
shout
but
out.
these guys are cool. I used to work with one of the guys.
I think the last time I watched wrestling was like when Hulk Hogan was the thing. Back in like the early 90s.
That could really vary. Yeah, the early 90s
So.
probably. But anyway, my name is Dave.
Robert.
And this is Wally.
And this is us signing off. Go Kings, go.